Now is that part 2 is amended stand part. Those of that opinion will say aye. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it. Members, we now move to part 3, and this is debate on clauses 40 to 56 and schedule 4. The question is that part 3 stand part. Call Andrew Little.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This part covers the new role, and I think more clearly defined role, of the Mines Rescue Trust, which has for a long time played a very important role in the mining industry. It has provided the training and the ready response force, if you like, for mines and mine disasters or mine incidents around the country. And they are a very dedicated team. There's a core staff of only a handful of people, but miners, working miners, are taken off the job and provided comprehensive training, and they are available to be deployed to mine incidents, whether on the West Coast or in the Waikato or other places where there is mining going on. And so one of the things that came out of the Pike River disaster, and I know when I was certainly down there at the time with my union hat on, there was, in the initial stages, great concern about who was controlling the Pike River incident and whether or not the expertise of the Mines Rescue Trust was being properly deployed. And the reality is, and this is no criticism because we can make observations and judgments in hindsight, but the reality is that as that tragedy unfolded in the early days of it, the police's reaction to the Mines Rescue Trust is they thought it was some sort of little society, like some little sort of, sports group or something that just happened to rock on up with this well-equipped, well-trained mining folks ready to go into the mine. And they were frankly given short shrift. And this was commented on by the Royal Commission, who said that the Mines Rescue outfit must be given proper statutory definition. And they had their own act beforehand. They must be given proper statutory definition, including of their duties and powers, and this now goes some way to doing that. The Minister's SOP 374 provides some extra provision about what happens with an incident, and so provides for the appointment of an incident controller, provides for WorkSafe New Zealand to establish an emergency protocol. All of this is good stuff. But, Mr. Chairman, I want to draw the House's attention to something that I think is a problem in it, and it was a problem that was addressed specifically by the Royal Commission. I know that it was the subject of submissions by various parties to it, and that is about the decision-making during the course of the incident. And there was a very great sense of frustration during the first week or 10 days of the Pike River event, in which those people from the various emergency services and the Mines Rescue Trust gathered at the mine site making decisions, were prevented from doing so because the police, at least, or possibly even the fire service, insisted on sending decisions back to Wellington to be made rather than making them at the site. And it was largely, I think, and the Department of Labour was the other one too, what was known then as the Department of Labour. They got heavily involved in the decisions, but it slowed things down. And my concern, Mr. Chairman, is in the new clause, new section 54B provided for on SOP 374, which provides in subsection 4 of that new section for the incident controller to, as it, and I quote, consult other relevant persons or agencies, including the persons and agencies described earlier in the section, and that includes the fire service, the police and anybody else. I draw the House's attention to the comment by the Royal Commission in its report, and its comment about the decision making at the time. They talked in page 350 of the report of planning activities must include risk assessment, but they go on to say this: reviews of risk assessments should not go through several layers of bureaucracy as occurred at Pike River. And what was happening, Mr. Chairman, during the course of Pike River, every time they thought they should do something or a particular proposal was put forward about a course of action that would be taken, there was then a risk assessment had to be carried out of it. And it was those risk assessments and the decisions that were being taken that were sent off to Wellington, the Police National Headquarters and the head office of the Department of Labour. That slowed things right down. And so on that basis, Mr Chairman, I put up an SOP that doesn't have a number, but it is my SOP that adds a proviso to that subsection 4 of the proposed new clause 54B that allows the incident controller to consult, as the Mr Chairman,
Andrew Little,
allows the incident controller to consult, as they should do, and as indeed that did happen at Pike River, but adds, and I quote, providing that such consultation does not impede the incident controller in making decisions in a timely and efficient way. Because what is important, of course, as an incident like this unfolds, is that decisions do have to get taken, and we don't want the obligation to consult the other parties, most of whom will have personnel at the incident themselves, to be sort of ankle-tapped by the fact that they are referring to their various head offices and taking risk assessments. And I think in one case there was one of the agencies involved was taking legal advice as this was all unfolding, so there was a law office involved giving advice as well. All of that slowed things down. And I know, talking to some of the Australian experts who were giving advice in the early stages from Australia, then came over to do the what they call choking the mine, filling it up with gas to put out the fire. A lot of those folks were saying how difficult it was to get some very important decisions taken because everything seemed to be referred off to other places, to other parts of the country. So I say, Mr Chairman, that I hope the Minister takes that on board, if necessary talks to the officials to make sure that in enacting this provision that we don't impede future incident controllers in the way that those in charge of the Pike River incident clearly were impeded in taking decisions in a more timely and effective manner. We know that there is this model of crisis incident management which the emergency services at Pike River were following. It was untested and untried in an incident as big and as significant as Pike River. It has been developed. There's been debriefing by the agencies involved in that. This legislation, once enacted, will allow WorkSafe New Zealand to take a much closer oversight of the development of those protocols. That is a good thing. Like many things in this bill, there are some very good things. But we don't want to sink the ship for a ha'porth of tar, as they say, on ships and elsewhere. We don't want to ruin what is a very good set of provisions by glossing over what I think is perhaps a minor oversight taken from reflection about the Pike River incident itself. So I urge the Minister to either consider that very carefully or at least to rise and take a call and explain to us and assure the House that these provisions, this proposed new section 54B, will not impede good quality, effective and timely decision making in an incident such as Pike River. Because after all, as we know from that experience and indeed from many others, time is usually of the essence. And decision makers, once they're empowered to make decisions, once the agencies are all there, we don't want them to be obstructed by the need to hang about and wait for all the hangers-on and others who all want their 5 cents worth when that may not be necessary for the effective conduct and controlling of an incident such as this. So once again, Mr Chairman, I urge the Minister to think carefully about it and make sure that this good legislation, this new legislation that charts a new path forward when it comes to disasters in mines and potentially other places in the future, is not let down by a provision that could obstruct good quality decision making.
Mr Chairman.
The Honourable David O'Connor.
Oh, no options, Mr Chairman. Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate that.